Hello, I am Jared the Mind Warrior, and welcome to Body Gaming. Today's topic is why do we do the things, why do we see things like we do? Following that, I will be probably playing some Naraka Blade Point. Depending on how that goes, I may or may not play Ghost of Tsushima's multiplayer. I think it's called Legends. Let's start right now with this simple question. Why do we see things like we do? Everyone sees things relatively, right? We go around in our day-to-day affairs or our night-to-night affairs, seeing how we want to think we want to see. So that's a tricky one, isn't it? What on earth would I mean? A long time ago, and in more recent times, I've been needing to remember this very, very thing. What's up, doggy? The reason that anything is bad is because we think it is bad. And the reason that anything is good is because we think it is good. And everything that's bad or good creates everything that's good or bad. Many of you might not understand that yet. And if you stay with me, you will hear this often. That in the world of senses and brain usage, everything suffers from duality. But it doesn't really. A dualist mind, like most of us have, applies everything that we experience usually with a label. And this label generally will have a reverse to it, an opposite. What we think we see. Doggy is completely accurate there. It doesn't mean that your reality is false. What it means is you have actually created, unbeknownst to you, an identity that everything filters through. Everything. Everything filters through it. And if that is the case, then who cares? It's still reality, right? It is and it isn't. Again, I'm using my mind, and that right there is a polar statement. So the reality that we all experience, the subjective reality. Oh, nice. Nice. If I change that one, you're going to have to talk to me about it. I'm not above any distractions. You saw me pause, I'm sure. Where was I? Oh, yeah. So, we all know the difference between relativity and absolutism. Relativity is directly relatable to you. It the individual, and something that's absolute is unquestionable for all. It applies to all. So, is there anything wrong with this? This duality of our minds? Well, our brains. Almost every element of suffering you have ever experienced falls within the paradigm of this process. Something happens. Your created identity observes it through all of your senses. And then the brain, if you aren't controlling it, labels it. Good, bad, like, dislike, pretty, ugly, white, black. Not people, but red, green. And on first thought, that might not seem like any kind of problem. And ultimately, it isn't a problem, it's a tool. Recognizing this error may allow you to go past it or go before it. Meaning, everything that you observe and experience in your life doesn't need to be explained in your brain. You don't need to label anything. You don't need to decide if it fits your own identities. That's supposed to be ahead. Idea of what is okay or not okay. None of it cares what you think about it anyway. You know, even another person that does care doesn't really care. Well, I told you one that I was going to change that one a little while ago, but I'll leave it for now. It's not on priority list. Nobody else is close anyway. So let me break this down a little further. So each one of us creates an identity as we are growing up at a very early age. And it grows and it builds. It's like a video game character, really. We think it's either good or bad. We apply all this polar type of thinking or dualistic thinking to it. You know, oh, I'm good looking. Oh, I'm not good looking. I'm a male. I'm a female. I'm a not either of them. I'm a this. You know, there's 100,000 description of a person at least in words, right? I have big feet. I'm tall. I hate myself. I love myself. These are all dualistic, maybe principles. So, as you continue your journey of life, everything that happens to you is observed through the senses first, right? You know, you might smell something, and then you might think, oh, I like that smell, or oh, I do not like that smell, or you don't even pay attention or care, right? But that's not actually in between. It just matters if you're actually thinking as an individual or not. We have all these senses to feel out our worlds, otherwise what would really exist? If you can't see what exactly exists, if you can't hear what sounds actually exist. More duality. Maybe I should have thrown on a 2-color background. And as we experience these things and we go forth experiencing these things, these wonders of life, we basically subjugate them by applying thought to them. I'm not saying thought is an enemy here. I'm saying it is a blockade of fully being present and in the moment. When you are fully and present in the moment, you won't suffer anymore. Oh, I don't suffer. Everyone suffers. It's another absolute of humanity, at least to a certain extent. So, why do we see things like we do? So everything that's happened to you up until this point has created a brain system of memories and reactions and behaviors and understandings and perceptions that actually take you out of reality. I sometimes like to create like a person in front of me. We create this video game character, this egoic identity that everything comes in and comes out of. So for instance, I've often used this as an example. Well, let me think of another one. If one person says to you that they don't like your hair, they actually are wrong in a way. And how you respond to that can also be a great error. Not the best example yet. Let's just break this down. If somebody says, I don't like your hair. Oh, no. I'll use this as an example. This is Jean-Claude Van Damme dancing from the movie Kickboxer. A must-see, by the way. If I wore this out in public, and somebody says, I don't like your shirt, I can react however I react. If I'm conscious, completely conscious in the moment, I will not react. So, is a non-reaction the goal? No. Seeing things how they are is. The understanding of not a matter of caring or not caring, more dualistic thought. But if somebody, it's seeing somebody for how they are. If they say that they do not like my shirt, and I disagree with them, then I'm doing exactly what they are doing. What they are doing would be their identity and their egos decides that they want to suggest something to either get reinforcement or non-reinforcement back, an agreeing or a disagreeing. So if somebody says to me, I don't like your shirt, and I say, I don't like it either, then we have common ground and I have just strengthened their identity. They'd probably be surprised, because in reality, as this is a negative example, they probably wanted me to feel some kind of pain, like I have my own identity based on it. And this is where suffering comes in. The ego wants to suggest a way to compare. That's what our identities do. So when I say something's ugly, somebody has to be pretty for it to be ugly. Something has to be uglier or prettier for this to be ugly. Mostly prettier. And that's the dualistic mind. So that person says, I don't like your shirt. And I say, well, I like it, so, go F yourself. Or whatever my response would be. Or I give them space for their own projection by seeing through their identity. Bear with me here. Their egoic statement that is trying to be fueled. I don't even have to respond. More importantly, I do not have to feel like my being is being threatened by a negative judgment. Again, I don't think that the example that I was using with this shirt is the best now for this, to keep it simple. And if somebody would do that, like today on my way home from work, somebody really cut me off for no apparent reason, didn't see me or something, and so I wanted to get mad because maybe that person intentionally tried to harm me or be a dick. Or maybe they didn't, and I was just getting mad because I didn't get my way. And that's really ultimately the same thing. I don't need a thought justifier to be okay with what had just transpired there. I don't need to point the finger and blame because I was in the moment. I saw them coming over. I did have to hit my brakes on the highway. I did honk, but it wasn't in anger. It was because they were super close to me. And then I continued on. Another time, maybe I would not have just moved on. Maybe I would have resented that person. Oh man, they were trying to hurt me. They need to get off the road. They don't know how to drive. Or then maybe, you know, oh, their car's a piece of crap. Why are they even driving? Or that car's too nice. Maybe that person should take their money and learn how to drive instead of buying these nice cars. Whatever comes up in the mind. This is the mind trying to tell us how to think, but it's not really us. It's just our, I'm saying mind, it's just our brains. Now, a conscious brain sees things as it is. So that car pulling in front of me is no different than the wind blowing. Maybe the wind's blowing some sand and it's going to get in my eyes, so I cover my eyes or do something to prevent it, and that's me making a choice in that moment. That person either accidentally or intentionally did something on the road, and it's important and vital to me to react or be in charge of my own reaction. And non-reaction is the way. No inflicted suffering because of what they did, where many people I know would have gotten very, very angry right there. So are they in the right or in the wrong? Am I in the right or in the wrong? Neither of us are in the wrong. I am making sure that I have a choice in the matter instead of auto-reacting. Reactions are generally auto no matter what anyway. But so what does that have to do with how we see things? Well, if somebody cuts me off on the highway or makes fun of my shirt, it's up to me to see them for who they really are, and there's somebody who's suffering and they want somebody else to suffer unconsciously. They don't want that if you ask them, usually. But it's still going to come out. Everyone wants to be right. Everyone wants to have their own way. They want things to go the way that they want them to go. And if it gets changed, you know, somebody didn't like Van Damme, and like I said, not the greatest example, wanted to publicly say that they didn't like my shirt. This never actually happened. Everyone loves Van Damme and kickboxing. But as an example, you can apply this to just about anything. So why do we see things the way that we do? It's because we don't see them differently, is the answer. It's not because of society, though it is very difficult to be around all sorts of people our whole lives that are kind of brought into the world, brought up thinking this same way, but this isn't mental freedom, this isn't mind freedom. And a lot of people, if any of you are out there disagreeing here, that's actually the point. What I'm saying here is not from an egoic point of view. It is a suggestion of something that can be very challenging to realize. And you'll notice it if you listen to the voice in your head say, no, this is wrong. What Jared the Mind Warrior is saying is wrong. So you just applied a duality to it. Everything's either wrong or right. Or maybe somewhere in between, right? But what happens if you take away all those things? I'm suggesting a deeper understanding of life. A deeper understanding involves trying to see things how they are. It's not literal see. It's see with the third eye, you know? You know the third eye, right? And when you really see things how they are, you have then moved past the dualistic aspect of the brain. And then you can just use your brain as a tool instead of being your brain. Everything comes out of your brain. Your senses, your identity, they, you know, filter through this brain of ours, this amazing survival mechanism. But the problem is that our brains ultimately inflict a massive amount of suffering to us because it doesn't know the difference between survival and existence. Of course, we're all surviving, yeah, but we're not really. Most people for most of their lives aren't threatened by things constantly or at all. They make it out to be that way. I mean, a lot of us are addicted to it. That's why we watch movies, right? I guess I'm addicted to it. I love movies. And movies that I like all have drama, you know? That's nice to say, doggy. That's a good saying. Well, is it disappointing? It's not. I don't know exactly what you're saying, doggy. Can't find the watch an ad for 5 bits anymore. I don't know what that is exactly, but something's disappointing only if you're wanting it to be differently than how it is. So disappointment is another thing that I call an error, where if somebody said they didn't like my shirt, well, that could be disappointing to me if I am identified with my brain, basically, or my ego. So that's disappointing that somebody would think that way. I thought it was great, but somebody else didn't like it. And here I am thinking instead of somebody just expressed something, and I'm continuing on in the beauty of life. There's an option that allows you to receive Twitch bits if you watch ads on a stream. Interesting. That's how much I watch people, right? I'm not gonna lie. I found a streamer that I like, but I don't ever really spend any time watching them because I don't want to watch somebody play when I don't have any time. So, but he has highlight videos that make me laugh in kind of a, I don't know. Haha, Wanda's correct. I mean, I guess I knew that, but when it comes to ads, it's like I didn't know that you could get bits. I've never tried to get bits, I don't think, myself. So why do we see things the way that we do? Because we see things through the mind, or god damn it. We see things through the brain. We see things through the brain, and we think it's our reality, and you don't have to do that. It might be. And maybe age also won't. So what's the point of all this? Well, we can't save the universe if we don't learn how to save ourselves, right? Our brains are the most amazing tools that have ever been given to us. Not an iPhone or other smartphone. Not a video game system. Our brains. They control these bodies we're stuck in. But they also will control our thinking without proper cultivation. So why do we see things like we do? The reason is because we need to. We need to. Doggy, thanks for the host. Everybody's only where they are in their own individual and interconnected journey based on what they need. It is my duty to show you that you will never understand true peace until you get out of your brain. Never. This isn't me touting the only way is through this way or only way through that way. It is, while the thinking brain is involved, you will never be able to experience reality as pure and peaceful and undescribably beautiful as it is. And by life, I synonymously mean the present moment. And with that said,